Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great Tuesday. Tina here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we're going to make a project using a couple items from Sunny Studios. I picked up the Eskimo Kisses stamp set. It's a smaller one, but it's adorable. And since it was smaller, price point smaller, so I picked up the same dies to go with it. I also picked up a background basics stamp set. It's really nice because it has 3 different backgrounds that you can create. It has polka dots, stripes, diagonal stripes at that, and then it has a gingham. So we're going to use one of those today. We're going to start off by doing a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to grab the Eskimo girl and then the Eskimo boy. They're super cute, and then there's a little stitched heart. We're going to stamp that as well. I'm going to be stamping on some neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. It's a Copic friendly or alcohol marker friendly cardstock. And I'm inking up my images with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It's also Copic friendly. Now we're going to do a little coloring. These little images were super duper easy to color in. I sped the coloring up quite a bit, but for their little outfits, I'm going to use a couple teal colors. I'm using BG11 first, and then doing a little shading with BG72. And I'm doing both the snowsuits the same way. I'll do a little accent on the little Eskimo boy's breeches, and then also his little coat accent. For their facial features, I used E00, E11, and then I rosied up their cheeks with some R20. And then I colored in the little heart too with R20 and then RV11 for a little shading. For their hair, we're going to make them little blondies, so I'm starting off with the YR31. We're adding some shading with YR21, and then lastly YR23. And then that finishes off my little Eskimos, and I love the teal and the pink. I think it's just so precious. Okay, once they're done, we're going to separate the coordinating dies. We'll just place them over the images, and we'll die cut all of them out. So cute. Now we'll set those aside, and we're going to work on our background. For background, we're going to do a little ink smushing. So I have a piece of Ranger watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to be using my Oxide inks, starting with spiced marmalade, and then going in with some squeezed lemonade, and then adding a little pink with picked raspberry. Using my distress sprayer, we're going to add a little water and just do light smushing. I just wanted a subtle softness in the background, and I think that looks great. Now the watercolor that I'm using is Ranger's because it's more of a bright white watercolor cardstock versus the Canson XL, which is a little bit on the vanilla color side. So I wasn't sure what background I was going to use, so I thought we better go with the Ranger's watercolor. But once we dried that, I think that looks so pretty, those colors do. I'm going to take the polka dotted background, place that in our stamp platform here. We'll just pick that up. I'm going to go over my cardstock with my anti-static powder bag, and then I'm going to ink up my polka dots with some Versamark ink. I'm going to stamp them a few times because the watercolor cardstock does have ridges in it. It's a very textured cardstock, and so I'm really pressing down on there. I didn't want to have to redo my panel because I was really happy with the way the background turned out. But after we have that stamped, I'm going to go over my polka dots with some white embossing powder. And you know what? You could do the entire background with the polka dots, but I just wanted to do one strip. Something a little bit different. Sometimes I get in a routine where I want to cover the entire background, and sometimes just one strip works great. Once my white embossing powder is all melted, I think that looks really pretty. Not your traditional background for my little Eskimos, and that's what I was going for. But I'm going to take a stitched rectangle die. I'm going to cut out my panel. Now my panel size is going to be 3.5 inches by 4 3/4. And then I'm taking the same size panel I die cut out with the same stitched rectangle die, and I'm going to cut out a little snowbank. I'm going to lower it just a bit. Okay, using some foam tape, I'm going to add that to the bottom of my snowbank, and then we are going to add that to our background panel. I thought the polka dots looked nicer on the top end of the panel. So I just flip my panel around. Once we have our snowbank adhered, we're going to add our little images. We're just going to use some foam tape for those as well. Just kind of figuring out my placement. And I didn't press them down all the way just yet because I still wanted to add my sentiment and I wasn't sure where I was going to keep these guys. I did double up on the very bottom with my little girl Eskimo. Okay, for my sentiment, I'm going to grab the Eskimo and the Kisses. I just placed them right next to each other on an acrylic block. We're going to stamp them with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And then using a stitched banner die, I'm going to cut out my sentiment. And I did stamp the sentiment more towards the right. Now once that's cut out, I thought it was just too white on the bottom. I wanted to add a little bit more of that teal color. So using that same marker I used for the little snow scoots, snow scoots, my new word. But I'm coloring in my cardstock with my BG11, and then I'm going to die cut out another fishtail banner with that same one we used for the sentiment. And then I'm going to layer them up together. I'm going to offset it a little bit just so that blue is peeking out underneath. That way it's going to bring the blue a little bit down here. I'll just use my tape runner and adhere that to the snowbank. I'm going to adjust my little girl a little bit. Add some more tape at the bottom. And then now we can really press down with our placement. Super cute. A little bit different background, but I really like the effect. I'm going to take a piece of fun foam and we're going to adhere that to the back of our panel. I like to use fun foam on my watercolor cardstock because it helps flatten it. Sometimes when you heat set it, it warps the paper a little bit, and the fun foam really helps keep it flat. Okay, we're going to place this panel on a white panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. We're basically matting it on a white panel. I'm going to take this and then place this on my card base. I'm going to be using a teal colored card base today, and place that right in the center. And then for little bells and whistles, we're going to use some clear droplets. We're going to add a few right above the heart, and then a few right next to the little boy. I keep wanting to call them penguins. Oh my goodness, but my cute little boy Eskimo. And then we're going to finish it off with a little bit of glossy accents. That finishes off my card today, guys. Something a little bit different, not your traditional background. And I think the stripe makes a great little focal point for the back. But thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you a fantastic day. Links will be below as always, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.